Okay, folks, it's the appointed hour. I'm going to call the monthly meeting of the Town Council for Westville to order. I'm going to start by indicating that we are meeting in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Also going to recognize the treaties of truth and reconciliation as we work towards truth and reconciliation, I should say, and we are all treaty people. I also want to acknowledge the histories, legacies, and contributions of the African Nova Scotia people who have been here with us for over 400 years. And with that, before we get into the meat of our meeting, so to speak, I want to take the opportunity on behalf of council and residents to recognize Brady Webb, who much to my surprise, I was not aware, and I think a lot of people were not aware. And I first of all, before I do that, I want to thank former councillor Charlene Thompson for bringing it to my attention that Brady had this major accomplishment. And the major accomplishment is no small feat indeed, becoming the world champion piper. And we are very proud that Brady hails from Westville. And I note it because I did a little bit of Googling once Charlene informed me about this, just to check what it was, and I did note that on most occasions, most of the reports about Brady's accomplishment referenced that he was from Westville, Nova Scotia. So, you know, it makes us all very proud indeed to represent Westville. We had the idea a few years ago, and we haven't implemented it yet, but I hope that at some point in the near future we will, and that was to have an award that we would award annually, or on occasions, and we'd call it the Ambassador Award, because I think that Brady has demonstrated to be an ambassador for the town of Westville, without him even knowing probably that's what he was doing in his significant accomplishment of becoming a world champion piper. And we want to acknowledge that. And I just asked Brady to come forward up by the podium there, and I just have a small little presentation on behalf of the town for Brady. Hey. So obviously the girl piper's fairly tall these days. you know, Sean Fraser, Brady, I guess it's a height requirement to become a piper, huh? Yeah. Right. So the citation that I'm presenting Brady with reads as follows. Town of Westville, congratulations. Town Council, on behalf of all residents of Westville, extend a sincere congratulations to Brady Webb on your winning overall grade 1 at the Competition League for Amateur Pipers in Scotland this month. Your exceptional talent and dedication have brought great pride to our community. We celebrate this remarkable achievement with you and look forward to many more successes in the future. Signed by me, Mayor Lenny White, dated August 26, 2024. So I did ask Brady prior to the meeting if I didn't want to put him on the spot. I asked if we would be okay to say a few words about the competition, because some of us, myself included, didn't know much about it until I was made aware of it. So if you can want to do that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. My apologies, I do have a stutter.
Quite all right. Take your time.
First of all, thank you very much for having me. I feel very honored to be here. And this competition in Scotland was actually held at the National Piping Centre in Glasgow. And it's run worldwide, like Australia, New Zealand, the States, Canada. So, and that's where piping's like the biggest. Anyway, all these papers came from all of the world to compete during the Week of the Worlds. And like to win it, it's unbelievable.
Fantastic. What an achievement, right? I mean, We are so delighted that you were able to do that and able to come with us tonight, because it's no small feat. I understand that there's hundreds and hundreds of people in this competition. Is that correct? From all over the world, like you said, right? Pretty amazing. So congratulations to you. How long have you been piping, by the way?
I started taking chanter lessons at the age of 7, but then got on the pipes when I was 10.
10.
Wow.
So like 2 years you've been piping.
And I'm 23 now. So.
Wow. Well, that's quite an achievement in that short period of time, I would say. You've competed before, this one?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I compete locally in all the maritime competitions. And I also have competed at the North American Championships, just outside of Ottawa.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand that you're also, your band that you're a member of did very well.
Yes, my piping in Dartmouth and District.
Yeah.
And came second in the world.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, Ian Doyle, where's Ian? Ian over here is our chair guy in town. You probably saw the big chairs around, and I don't know whether you saw it yet or not, but he's got a Brady Webb chair now. So he's even more well known, locally at least anyway, in town. So we hope to spread the word far and wide that that this championship piper hails here in Westville, because it's a national story as far as I'm concerned. Matter of fact, I think I saw on the news last night there was a story about somebody that was some weird championship that they won. What was it? I'm trying to remember now. It had nothing to do with piping. Let me put it that way. And it had no comparison to the skill level that piping would take. It was something that was just some crazy thing. And they touted this person as being the world champion, like it's a big deal. This is a big deal.
Sure is a big deal.
So thank you very much again. Oh yeah, okay, Brady. He doesn't want it to be, that's for sure.
Well done.
We may want this too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Come right up close to the,
Up here?
right up to the,
All right.
open that one.
You gonna be able to get my head
In
in?
front of the flags.
Want me to stand on something?
His mother doesn't have to do it. You can.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Now I'm going to close. Got that one last night. It's like walking around 12 o'clock and out there and change the weather. Wonderful.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah.
Would have brought the hair up in the back of our necks too.
Okay, with that, yes, you're free to move about the cabin, by the way, if you're not, Charlene knows what's coming, that's why she's leaving. So,
Only the meetings are longer
thank you very
now.
much. Thank you for coming, folks.
See you.
Congratulations.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well done.
Yeah. Now for the rest of the entertainment, yeah.
The knit and grit. Back to just you, Henry.
Back to
I do
our
have
mainstay.
to begin the meeting, before we get into the meat of the meeting again, I do have a proclamation. This month is Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Disorder Month. If I can find it, just give me a sec, please. I had it a moment ago. There it is. And I want to proclaim on behalf of the town of Westville that the 9th day of September will be designated as National Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder in the town of Westville. Fetal alcohol syndrome is a lifelong invisible brain and full body disability with no cure, and the only effective treatments being society understanding and changing its expectations of independent school, social behavior, and how these families are supported. So with that in mind, as I said, September is the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Awareness Month, and there will be celebrations or commemorations of this event throughout North America, in fact. And we in Westville wish to participate in that, and I do hereby declare Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Month for the month of September. Thank you. Okay. Just a very quick aside. I was in a former lifetime. I was a social worker, and I am aware of the effects of fetal alcohol syndrome. It's devastating to children, and it's a lifelong thing that there's no cure for, other than, as it says in the proclamation, understanding and acceptance by those of us in society. Roll call. So we have Councillor Sarah McKinnon, Councillor Claire McKinnon, CAO Scott Weir. Down to my left, we have Recording Secretary Kristen Reed, and next to me I have Deputy Mayor Bernie Murphy, myself, Lenny White, Mayor. Councillor Mitchell McGregor sends his regrets he's unable to be with us this evening. Declaration of Conflict of Interest. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on. Addition, deletions, and approval of the tentative agenda that was circulated. Having trouble, I must have been playing the pipes too much tonight. I'm having trouble getting my words out. I don't know.
I would move that the agenda be approved as circulated.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Ready for the question?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 29th.
I move the approval of the regular council minutes of July 29th as presented.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. You ready for the question?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Committee of the Whole meeting of August the 19th.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting from August 19th, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ready for the question?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Moving on then to committee reports, general government, the first one being my report, which was printed and circulated, I believe. Just wanted to highlight, of course, and I think I referenced that in my report, written report, but certainly the highlight of the month for me was the Megan's Place sign unveiling, which was more than a sign unveiling, and I said that at the time and before, that it was really an opportunity for us to come together and have a celebration of life with regard to Megan. It was well received by the family, as I note in my minutes or my report, and that was the most important thing to me, the one that I was most concerned about, that the family would be happy with how it went, and they were indeed. Not in my report, but in a few hours ago, 3 o'clock, we had a press conference out at the former Highland Consolidated School to announce our partnership with the Nova Scotia Cooperative Council, who are going to be repurposing the existing building, the former school, to some 72, they believe, apartments, both affordable and market rent, I guess. In addition to that building, to having the apartments, it's proposed that there will be a couple retail spaces in the bottom of it, as well as a daycare in the, they're going to utilize, I believe, the gym portion of the existing building for a daycare center. And in conjunction with that, and probably prior to the renovations of that building being finished, they're going to be a couple buildings erected in front of the existing school building for the purposes of, Dave Dignan, listen to this, for the purposes of daycare, creating daycare spaces in town. So much needed, as we are all aware, the spaces for daycare, and that may happen, or will happen, I believe, before the renovations are finished in the main building itself, according to Diane Gelderman of the Co-op movement. Very exciting indeed, and this does not impact the proposed site for the long-term care facility on the former school property. Any discussions we've had with possible proponents of the long-term care facility still like that property and believe that's the preferred site, as did our citizen engagement session that we had here on, several months ago, when the majority felt that that was the appropriate site, as does this council as well. So there is room there for both, and there's room for both. Actually, there's room for more than both of them. There's also room for additional housing development, which we anticipate will come as well in that area. So it's an exciting day for this town. I think it's a red letter day, because it's the beginning of that process, that change that we've been talking about as a council for the last few years. And I know it's been frustrating people, because we keep saying it and people keep saying, well, what are you talking about? This is one of them. In addition to the things that were announced at our Planning Advisory Committee meeting last week, the development that's going to be happening out here on Drummond, just adjacent to us here, of a 10-unit development by Shaw Development. Acadia Avenue, the 24 units that we talked about there that are going to be coming online before too soon. I mean, pretty soon, I should say. And several others that we can't announce yet, but are in the works. So stand by for those as well. So we believe we're on the right path. We believe that the momentum is going to carry us, once it gets going, is going to carry us forward to a great degree. And so we look forward to the partnership with the Nova Scotia Cooperative Council, in particular with regard to the school, the former school building. I know there's a lot of questions about that. I just want to say that, mention it today, and I'll mention it again. There will be many rollouts. There will be many opportunities for citizen engagement during this process. Our intention as a council and as the cooperative group as well, they're of the same mind, that we will keep people abreast at every stage of this process as much as possible, more than what we're mandated to do by the Municipal Governments Act, and just having a public hearing around the development agreement, which will be coming soon. But we'll go beyond and beyond that, above that process. So stand by for that. There will be more information to come. Couple very quick things, because I know these are sort of questions that are being asked. The one was the fact that the school was closed because, apparently there was a mold issue and a health issue. So the question was asked today by a reporter, I believe, to Diane Kelderman, who's spearheading this. What about the mold issue? And she said, and I think I can quote her almost verbatim, I can say 100% that there will be no mold issue, no health concerns with the school building once it's renovated. The only thing that the environmental assessment picked up with regarding that was with regard to the paint. There's lead paint in the building, and some mold on that sort of thing. That'll all be removed, obviously. They're not going to leave that stuff there. So I want to get that out front as soon as possible, because I know it's out there. I know that'll be the question, that'll be the comments that people will be saying, how can they possibly put people in that building because it's a sick building. They've done the assessments. They've done the looks. They know what they're going to do, and there'll be no health issues related to it. So I just wanted to say that. There'll be other things to come. The only other thing I want to say, and sorry to going on so long this evening in my report, but I just want to clear up something else. I posted recently on my Facebook page, on my mayor's page, the fact that a longtime citizen of our town had passed away. That person being Dorothy Canning. The reason that I put it on there was because a year ago, almost to the day, I had the happy occasion of, on behalf of the council and town, presenting Dorothy with flowers and a certificate to honor her 90th birthday. And she'd passed away just shy of her 91st birthday. And that's why I put it on there. But I did get a little bit of, understandably, feedback saying, well, what about other people that have passed in town, that are longtime residents and so on. And if I offended anyone, I apologize for that personally. The thing is, we need to know about it. And if I don't know about it, I can't recognize it. But I'd be happy at all our council meetings, when there are significant, individuals in town who have contributed to this town significantly or reached a certain age, long-term residents, I'd be happy to acknowledge their contribution and their passing, if that's the case, unfortunately, at a council meeting. But I need to know about it, so I welcome that information from citizens. I will mention one specifically that I missed, and I think that council would want me to speak to, and that was Alice McDonald, who passed away as well this month, who was 94 years of age, a longtime resident of this town, and whose son-in-law happens to be the chair of our Planning Advisory Committee, Robert Partington. So I want to send acknowledgement of her passing as well, and condolences to the family on behalf of council towards Alice, for Alice. And with that, I will conclude my comments on my report and call on Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Thank you, Your Worship. A lot of the committee's keeping summer hours, but I did attend the press conference this afternoon at the old high school. It was very, very exciting. Feels like this is it. This is the turning point that we're waiting for. So, I also attended the Committee of the Whole, Police Commission, PAC. I attended the memorial service, obviously, for the 150th celebrations of the Westville Fire Department. Those celebrations went very, very well. The service was very nice. We also still have Music in the Park, organized by the Social Committee. That's been very well attended this year, and our last one will be on Wednesday at 6:30. Your Worship, if I could, I'd also like to take this opportunity to announce my intention to reoffer for council. I'd like to thanks. I'd like to thank the citizens of Westville for all their support in the past, and hopefully in the future. We've been spending, well, pretty much over the last decade trying to get these wheels turning, and now that we kind of see some traction, some momentum, really want to be a part of bringing them to fruition. Not only the ones that are underway, but also those that we know that are going to need to be done. We have a lot of infrastructure issues in Westville that need a lot of attention and a lot of managing, because obviously everybody knows that we don't really have the resources to fix all problems all at once. For an example, I'd say in North Street, we know there's going to be considerable investment in there the next few years. That there has to be. And my objective is to make sure that we stay on track, try to do as much as we can do to prepare, just in case there is possible funding avenues. So if we can be shovel ready, my push is to do as much as we can. And not only that street, but any other street which there is quite a few. Yeah, so that's it for my report, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate it. Call on Councillor Clary McKinnon.
Your Worship, today's announcement, I think, was one of a few or several game changers for Westville. And I want to say how proud I am of the way you did the announcement and handled questions, and the same was true of Diane Kellerman as well. I think you both did a very good job up there today, and I was proud to be there and listen to you and so on. One of the things that I liked about the announcement was the fact that there's going to be a major common area out front with gazebos, and there's some great plans for the place, and certainly attended the sign ceremony for Megan's place, which you just covered well. But it's interesting to note that we are on our way toward $1 million in relationship to that project, so that's pretty exciting. Police Commission. I've been lobbying for more police presence up at the Cowan Street three-way stop, Borders Lane, Cowan Street, and pleased to say that there has been a presence since last Tuesday night, and there have been a number of times I've seen the police lights flashing, and that is really good, because there were a lot of people, but a very small minority of people who were in fact disregarding the stop sign, and some of them stopping and squealing tires, pulling away, and so on. So that police presence makes me feel a whole lot better about what's happening there. Planning Advisory Committee attended. You already mentioned the Shaw Group and everything else that's going on there, multiple projects. There is no meeting of the Riverview Home Corporation this month. There are a number of important things taking place that are going to have an impact on Westville, and I hope to be able to update next month on those. I gave some insight last month to that. Also, the fire department is not meeting coming Wednesday night, not having a regular meeting, but it will be, I guess it would be a county-wide fire department meeting instead. So I will not be attending the fire department, as I do almost every month. And the outstanding muster that took place on Saturday was great. The truck pull was another undertaking of the department. Every month the department is doing something major, and of course there's the upcoming Memorial Car Show on September the 1st, right? So I think that should be mentioned, and certainly participated in the town-wide yard sale. That was last year. We took in close to $600. This year we sold about $500 worth of things out of the basement and so on. So, and the fact that we had over 70 sites in town this year.
Over 80.
Over 80, because there were some last-minute ones as well. So the last time I checked, it was 73, but there were going to be add-ons. So that's amazing to get over 80. And I think last year it was 63, if I recall. So this is something that we have to give our recreation person a bouquet on as well. A lot of good things happening in the town. So unlike the deputy mayor, I will not be announcing my candidacy.
You
But
sound like.
I'm going to miss out on a lot of things that are about to happen in this town.
Councillor McKinnon, you sound like Lyndon Baines Johnson when he said, I will not accept, I will not accept, or will I seek the
I would
nomination of my
accept if
party.
I weren't 78. Anyhow,
You're
some people
almost-
think
you're
they can
almost
run
old
for
enough to run for
president and be
president
that
of the United
old. However,
Larry, you're almost old enough to run for president of the United States.
anyhow, it's been a great month, and many more great months to come in this town of Westville. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McKinnon. Councillor McGregor, as I said, sent his regrets that he couldn't be here this evening, but he did send me a brief a report that I'll read for him. He says, receiving numerous calls on the developments at the old high school property, as well as potential development on Drummond Road. This was before the announcement today when he wrote this report, so he wasn't aware that, well, he was aware that we were going to make the announcement, but it hadn't been made publicly. Most calls on the Drummond Road shared my concern regarding sight lines on the Blind Hill and Corner. And once again, I think those were addressed at Planning Advisory Committee and will be addressed, his concerns with regard to the sight lines for the new development. It was a concern, and the developer and the town, I think, have worked it out that it should not be a concern going forward, hopefully. Congratulations, he says, to the fire department on the 150th anniversary. He attended the Planning Advisory Committee meeting, the Police Commission meeting, and the Committee of the Whole meeting. And that is Mitchell McGregor's report for the month. Thank you. Councillor Sarah McKinnon.
All right. Thank you very much, Your Worship. I attended all council meetings this month. I'm happy to see paving of roads and sidewalks taking place within the town of Westville. Lots of happy residents to see. We know that many more streets need to be done, but the streets that we have allotted to be done this year that are being done now is excellent. Very excited about this afternoon's announcement and the potential of what's going to take place up there at the old high school, which has really been an eyesore in our community for quite some time now. So to be part of that announcement today and looking forward at what a beautiful and fabulous place that could be for people to have literally a little community within our community is very exciting for the future. Attending Megan's Place sign revealing was very powerful. I think it was emotional for all of us, but a very powerful presentation. I was pleased that Sean Fraser was there and our Premier was able to attend, but most importantly that Megan's daughter and family were there to see that we are following through on her wishes, and to be able to create an inclusive playground in Pictou County, to have that here in Westville that's accessible, that's not going to only be incredible for those children with special needs within our community, but literally all over Pictou County. And I think that that is something to be celebrated that day and every day until it's in place, and then we'll show lots of gratitude for that and the joyful experiences those children have not been able to have, but will be able to have here in our community because of Megan. Again, congratulations to the fire department, 150th anniversary. I'm loving all of the fire department flags that are around town, and seeing everybody's faces of past and present members, I think is it just shows what an amazing job the fire department does, and those that volunteer and rush into things when others are rushing out. So very, very grateful for their service. Also wanted to say thank you to all of those that attend our council meetings. Some of you are here every week, and it's greatly appreciated that you care and you're interested and you're staying abreast of what's taking place and going on in our community. Thank you to those who also join online and watch us from home, especially Pat Duggan.
All right. Yes.
It's a huge shout out to Pat Duggan for and others that join us online and watch us from home. And it's great to know. Sometimes, you forget that people are watching, and then you bump into them and they say, oh yeah, I saw this, or I heard you mentioned this. And it's great to know that there are people that are interested and care and are following along with us as we try and do some really exciting things in our community and move things forward. So with that, I do plan on reoffering in this election coming up. I've had some, thank you. I've had some personal health struggles the last few months, and I will say thank you to my colleagues that have allowed me to join meetings virtually when I couldn't physically be here. But that was an accommodation that was made to me that I appreciated. So thank you very much. And I'm hoping that I'm not going to need that accommodation in the future. I am on the mend. So pleased to say that I want to keep serving the people of Westville and hope that I am able to do so. And that is my report for this month. Thank
you very much, Councillor. I know, I think C.A. Wares, I'm going to call on for his report. I think you mentioned about Megan's Place that there is a sign coming to say when it's opening, in 2025. I say that only because I don't want people to construe that when we unveil the sign that's actually the finished product. In fact, that's the existing playground that's still there. The sign reveal only is to mark the spot where the new Megan's Place playground will exist next year. So just wanted to be clear on that. And sort of realized after the fact, we probably should have had a coming soon or something on that sign to say that this is not Megan's Place yet. It will be, right? So C.A. Weirs, I know your report is next.
Yeah, just a couple of additions, sort of updates, I guess, Your Honor, to what's been already distributed. One, just with regard to Megan's Place, the request for proposals that's been out on the street for about a month closes in just a couple days. And I anticipate a number of playground design firms from across the Maritimes bidding on that work. So it'll be very exciting to evaluate those proposals, and once we've got a selected candidate, we'll make that announcement. The other couple of short and brief updates I wanted to make are, one, Spring Garden Road, the sidewalk on Spring Garden Road. The pavers will be there on, I believe, weather and mechanical issues permitting, on Tuesday of next week. And then the other two streets that council approved for repaving this year, given our budget, Ballarat and Acadia Street, will be repaved on Thursday of the following week. So those are things that will be happening over the next little while. And then we're still determining the exact start date for sidewalk repaving along College Street, but that'll also be happening this year. So that's it, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weirs. Before I move on, just and I meant to say this today at the press conference, and I neglected to do it because I was speaking off the cuff without any notes. Should never do that. To acknowledge our CAO's involvement and work on getting us to this point where we are in this town with these announcements that we've been making and able to make in the last week, and particularly today with regard to the school property and what we're going to do there, and the long-term care, these other developments with Shaw and other developers. Without Scott, and I firmly believe this, without Scott's at the helm and in the position that he has, these things would not have come to realization. We needed this in this town. We needed someone with Scott's ability, knowledge, and desire, really, to make things happen. And I can tell you, I spent a lot of time with this guy over the last couple of years, and it's only because of his dedication and consistent work that these things come about. And I just want to acknowledge that publicly, because I don't think we've ever had a chance to do that. And I want to do that sincerely here this evening. God, I got a little emotional there too. Wow. Moving on then to the Protective Services reports. Chief of Police and Fire Department and Dog Control.
Your Worship, would like to move the Protection Services reports as presented, including the Chief of Police reports, Fire Department report, and Dog Control.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Ready for the question?
Question.
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Recreation, Culture, and Leisure Services.
I'll move to approve the Recreation, Culture, and Leisure Services, our CLS Coordinator Report, as attached.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Ready for the question?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. I could say, now that I'm on this trend, let me just say this as well on behalf of council, because I know we all share this belief and feeling. Once again, I believe that people have taken notice of some of the things that have been going on in this town in the last couple of years with around recreation, culture, and leisure services, and largely attributed, if not solely attributed, let's put it that way, to our recreation, culture, and services coordinator, Melanie Dash. She has made these things happen. She has made things happen in town that go on continuously, and now the work that she has done needs to be recognized, and I do so here tonight as well. recognize Melanie for bringing us to the level of engagement and activity in this town that makes it a great place to live. And I hope that people are becoming aware of all the activities that she's working on and has scheduled, and take advantage of them. They're there for the taking. It's phenomenal, really. And so we thank Melanie for her work in that regard. Okay, moving on to Transportation and Environmental Health Services.
I would move that the Transportation and Environmental Health Services report, which includes the water report, the Public Works report, solid waste report, and Pictou County Transit Expansion report, be approved as circulated.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
And
Rich, on the question?
If I could, Your Worship, under the Pictou County Transit, the sooner we get the information out from the providers of the transportation on the schedules, things are, I guess, firmed up by now. But,
It was released today.
There are, in fact, people in town that don't realize that you can travel anywhere, even to Pictou. You can get transfers from one area to another. And I quite often talk to the seniors in the 50-plus units on Porter's Lane, and some of them are not aware of the actual schedule, and they would be using it more if they were in fact all clued in on what is available. And I think if we could get information out and get that information on the bulletin boards in each of the buildings up there, and even perhaps individual things shoved under the doors, it would be most helpful. And I know that's going to be worked on, and I feel very strongly about that, because the last thing we want to do is have decent transportation in the town of Westville and it not being subscribed to as it should be subscribed to. So I think it's onward and upward with that service, and we're going to need it so much more when we get all of these developments that are taking place in this town, and all the housing units that are on the way in several different places. We're going to need transportation, and good transportation.
I believe, Councillor, that today on our Facebook page, at least, the actual route was published or put on that page. That's not the answer for everyone, obviously. And we are going to, I think, try to format it so that we can get that. The schedule's a little hard to understand, at least even for me. It's a little hard on that that document, but we'll do it specifically for Westville. Like all we need to, I think what we need to do is we need to let people know, now that we know the route, that's pretty clear on what was provided. And then now we need to help people understand when the pickup times are and when the drop-off times are, when they come and when they come back. So we'll be working on that in the next day or so.
Yeah, the other thing, Your Worship, we assume sometimes that everyone has a computer and that everyone is on Facebook.
Right.
And that is not the case. In talking with some of those seniors, they aren't on Facebook, and they don't have a computer.
I think the ideal thing will be when we are able to have at each of the locations on the signage the actual a description of the route and the times that the bus will be at those locations.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're aiming for, and that's what's projected to happen. We're just sort of waiting for the Transit Authority themselves to get the necessary information, and from the province has said they would help with that promotion. And I think that, as I understand it, the Transit Authority is just waiting to get that stuff from the province. CAO Wares is better versed in this than.
Yeah, just a couple of comments, I guess. we're just going to, confirming once again with Pictou County Transit that the times that that we're currently using are going to be current for the for the foreseeable future, and then we'll get some signs built up for each of the bus stops, and then to Councillor McKinnon's suggestion, we'll prepare a simplified communication document of some sort that has the route on it and the times on it, and be able to post those and hand those out or those sorts of things. So we're just double checking that there's been some shifting around of times. The route has remained constant, but there's been a bit of shifting around as the bus, as Pictou County Transit becomes more familiar with the routes and you know, times and those sorts of things.
Yeah. And the other thing that I should,
Thank you.
I think the other thing we should mention before we leave this is, because I don't think it's been announced or made public too often, if at all, that the Transit Authority has said the bus can be flagged down. You don't have to go to the exact stop. If you can't, if you're far away from the 3 stops that we have in town, but if you know where the route is, because the route is pretty easy to, if you look at the map, the route that they provided, anywhere on that route in the town of Westville, a person can flag the bus down and they will stop and pick them up. I don't think that that's been publicized a whole lot to this point in time, but we want to get that out there as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Mayor. That is a very recent evolution in the service. So when the service first started about a month and a half ago or so, it was strictly at the stops because they were trying to understand what the safety realities were for clientele getting on and off the bus in the Westville area, and the rest of the routes as far as that goes. And so it's only been in the last week or so that they've come forward and said, okay, we've had a sufficient experience now running the route that we know that it is safe, so that they will allow flag stops and drop-offs at any place along the route.
Right. So we'll get that out as well, that information. Are you ready for the question?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Once again, before we leave this, I'm saying some of these things because, as you all know, there's an election coming in October the 19th to be exact. So by my estimation, this council, beyond this council meeting tonight, has one more council meeting as a council. That would be in the 26th, I think it is September. So, you know, in the event that we're not back as a group, and yours truly is not sitting where he's sitting, although he wants to be, I guess it's, you know, I want to make some acknowledgements that perhaps I, you know, and that's why I acknowledge some of the things I already have, but I also want to, and I think it goes without saying, and most people are aware, the Public Works Department, a small but mighty Public Works Department, the work that they do on a weekly, daily, weekly, monthly basis is incredible. And this past month has been a nightmare, to put it mildly. We've had how many 22 water breaks that they had to attend to. 22 water breaks, which takes a lot of time to work on and repair. And it, you know, and unfortunately, for example, you know, just a quick example. So we announced the Spring Garden Road sidewalk project, and, you know, we expected it to be done, you know, several weeks ago. And, you know, I'm sure other council members, but I had some calls and inquiries about it from residents down there. What happened, you know, we had notices sent out, which we did. We notified all the residents that this was going to be happening because it involved taking away some properties and some trees and things along the street to let them know, and then they were seeing nothing happen. Well, the reason nothing was happening was because the guys were out attending to water breaks, you know, and that's, you know, we just don't have the capacity, number-wise, body-wise, to make all these things happen at the same time. So they do incredible work under very difficult circumstances most of the time. So I just wanted to give them a shout out as well.
Question, is it I guess reasonable to assume that the sidewalks on Spring Garden Road can be completed before school starts.
That's the objective, yes, that will be.
Yeah, that'll be the crunch
And
time.
as the CAO said, he's hoping that
The
the
5th
idea
of
is
September.
next Tuesday.
Right.
So we're cutting it fine, but.
Yeah,
So just
A week before.
that would be a concern.
Yeah, just
for
further
sure.
to that, so
Yeah.
all the preparation work has been done. So
Right.
there were some trees that needed to be removed. There was some reprofiling of certain segments of properties along Spring Garden Road that needed to be accommodated. All that's been done, and literally now we're waiting for the people who do the laying of the pavement to come in and do what
Okay.
they need to do.
Excellent. Thank you.
One of the things, if I may, Your Worship, and it happened on Cowan Street as well, and I'm sure I know that it has happened on Spring Garden Road. People don't realize that the town does own the first little bit in front of their properties. So I know there has been some kickback in why is the town taking this strip for the sidewalk in front of my house? And one person on Cowan Street said, the town expropriated the little strip of land in front of my house without even mentioning that it was going to be done. And there was no expropriation, and there isn't on Spring Garden. The town actually owns from the center of the road into the properties.
I think it's around 33 feet, don't quote me on
That's,
that, but
that's
from the center of the road.
that's the
yeah.
figure that I've
That's generally
always
what it
used, is 33 feet from the
On
center
that,
of
on
the
that
road.
point, however, I must say, to the residents of Spring Garden Road, a big thank you, because their understanding of this project, once it was explained to them, and we gave them good notice, which, is a lesson to be learned as well, and I think we understand that now, and we want to advise people and let people know as soon as we can that if there's a project that might affect them. And we did that on Spring Garden Road. And their understanding, like there has been no negative feedback from the residents on Spring Garden Road. In fact, I believe that they're more than happy to see it happening. Who wouldn't be?
I think most people are
like
delighted.
a few of us on Cowan said, we'd be happy to see a sidewalk by our place on Cowan. And if we had to give up a little bit of land, we'll give it up gladly. Seriously, thank you to the residents of Spring Garden Road for their understanding on this project, and we hope they're going to be satisfied with the results in the project. It's going to mean a lot to when school starts. So that's a busy street, as we all know, and a lot of pedestrian traffic, kids walking to and from school, and this will add greatly to the safety there. Okay, environmental development.
I move to approve the environmental development report, including the fire inspection.
Second?
Moved and seconded, ready for the question?
Question.
Questions called, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Moving on then to new and unfinished business, Mineral Resources Development Fund, CAO Weirs.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just have a resolution here. I think Council's aware of this, that Westville has a long-standing issue with subsidence. There's been, over the years, a number of incidents. Fortunately, nothing's happened of late, but I, for one, have been concerned, I guess, about making sure that we have as much information as possible with regard to where subsidence is a risk in the town and where it's not. And so I took it upon the town's behalf. I approached the provincial government and applied to the Mineral Resources Development Fund for some funding to get a good feel, a much better, more accurate feel of where subsidence is a risk in town and where it isn't. And that application was approved for this fiscal year, and then there's a second part in next fiscal year that we'll have to apply for more money, but it's just part of the process. So I have a resolution here about that and the expenditure that's associated with that. So if you'll allow me, I'll read the resolution. Whereas Town of Westville has developed a two-phase Westville subsidence study proposal to undertake a review
Let's
of...
hope we're subsisting.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
subsided.
Undertake a review of geological reports, followed by a geodetic surveys and monitoring to better understand the potential subsidence risks and possible management approaches available to the town. And whereas the province of Nova Scotia's Mineral Resources Development Fund is designed to assist municipalities with certain eligible mining and mineral resource related projects. And whereas the town undertook a tendering process pursuant to the town's purchasing and tendering policy, which resulted in the Canadian Centre for Geodetic Engineering at the University of New Brunswick being identified as the successful bidder. And whereas the program, the Nova Scotia program, covers 100% of eligible costs incurred up to a maximum of $25,000 in fiscal 2024-25. And whereas the resources are projected to cover 83% of the costs of Phase 1 of the Westville subsidence study, therefore be it resolved that Westville Town Council endorses staff entering into agreement with the Canadian Centre for Geodetic Engineering at the University of New Brunswick to undertake Phase 1 of the proposed study, and be it further resolved that Council approve the expenditure of up to $5,000 to cover approximately 17% of the costs associated with Phase 1 of the proposed study.
So move, Your Worship.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question?
Question?
Question's called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Good job.
17% is a pretty good,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so that's a fairly large grant, if I may just comment. If our 17% is 5,000, you've done very well there.
very well. Thank
And
you for
direly
that.
needed as well.
What's that?
And direly needed as well if we want to continue
Yes.
with the development of
Exactly.
properties in our town.
We need to know with certainty, as the CAO says, we need to know with certainty where the good is and where the bad is,
Yeah, take that questioning away.
So we can say with certainty. It's very important.
Good work.
Public participation program approval. So the policy, I think it's here before us again, was approved at the July council meeting, but we had some slight amendments to it, I think, and went through planning advisory as well.
Correct. And what's happened is that there's been some new information that's come available that we hadn't understood before. That's resulted in some minor changes to the program, and so want to make sure that it's that council has approved it.
Right.
So I have a resolution with regard to that. So whereas staff have recently received additional information that impacts Westville's public participation program, and whereas staff have amended the public participation program to account for the new information, and whereas PAC, the Planning Advisory Review Committee, has reviewed and the revised program and recommended to Town Council approval of the program as revised, and whereas Town Council has received PAC's recommendation and discussed the public participation program, therefore be it resolved that Town Council approves the revised public participation program as presented. And it's in your packages.
Yeah, quick question on that. What was the change exactly?
The change was how it, I don't know how to explain it. It is more straightforward and less, there was some redundancy. I guess maybe that's the simplest way to put it.
Yep.
There was some redundancy in there that we have removed in order to make it apply more easily and completely across all types of development activities. So it's a semi-complicated issue that turns on how the province, what the province defines as planning documents and what are not planning documents. So in a strange way, the very things that you would think are planning documents under the province's rubric are in fact not planning documents. So development agreements, for as one example, are not planning documents,
Yeah.
and we'd been under the impression
Sorry to
that they
believe.
were. So it's I'm sorry, it's a kind of a rambling explanation, but it's
Yeah, you
because
lost me there. I'm not
it's a
gonna lie.
it's a rambling issue.
So, Your Worship,
Okay.
I think the safest way to say it is that regardless of what the development is in town, our response to the public participation will be consistent
Same.
across the board. I think
Thank
that's what
you.
we're straightening out.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Deputy
Before,
Mayor.
it was sort of, you know, we do this if it's a development agreement, we do this if it's a, you know, a bylaw change or zoning change, or, you know, so I think we cleaned it up to be all-inclusive.
Yeah,
Okay.
and to the benefit of the residents,
Absolutely, you know, and it's
regardless
going,
of how many meters they
Right,
live
so
away
Right.
this
from.
is
It's
where we
going-
discussed, like, we would place signs
Right.
out there. We
it's
would-
going well beyond what is required under the MGA, under the Municipal
Excellent.
Governments Act, well beyond.
Okay,
And-
picking up what you're laying down now, I'm good, thank you.
Because it's our desire to be totally transparent
Yeah.
and get as much information out as soon as we can and as often as we can. And that's,
Right.
again, what I said today about the announcement today. This is just the beginning. We intend to revisit this many times before
Okay.
it's completed with public engagement. So I think that's the gist of the changes. Councillor McKinnon, you're good now?
Yes, I'm great, thank you very much.
All right.
I would be happy to move that, Your Worship, and we are doing above and beyond what is required by the MGA, and I think that's important. Westville is sort of leading the way, I think, in doing more than is necessary.
Okay, and with the clarification, I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question?
Question.
Questions called. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And what it does is, by the way, I mean, it sets the, you know, now we have a policy, right? Now we will address every issue the
Yeah.
same way. Everything that comes before planning advisory, everything that comes before us in
Yeah.
the same way, as far as notifications and information goes.
Excellent.
Kind of nice to know. Okay, so Drummond Road development. More exciting stuff.
Yeah, so a resolution regarding that issue. I'll read it for you. Whereas the Shaw Group / Clayton Developments has submitted an application requesting approval of a development agreement that would allow construction of 10 units of for sale housing on Drummond Road. And whereas Westville Planning Advisory Committee has reviewed and discussed the application in detail and has recommended it for public review and council consideration, therefore be it resolved that Westville Town Council approve the Shaw Drummond Road Development Agreement being brought forward to a public hearing on September the 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Westville Council chambers. So to your point about public participation.
Correct.
Excellent.
I would make that motion, Your Worship.
Second that?
Moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question?
Question.
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Your Worship, that's another great example of a very competent companies coming to town to do business in Westville, so that's
Right.
good news.
Good point. And that's a point that we made today, and I'll make it, yeah, now that you remind me, Deputy Mayor. You know, I said today when we did their announcement at the school, that over the past, number of years, we've had many proposals come before us and people showing interest in doing something with the former school. But none of them really met the test of, in the minds of those that looked at it, of probably being doable or had the ability to do it.
Resources.
The resources to do it. I'm quite confident that being partnered with Co-op Nova Scotia, we have a partner that is more than capable and has the ability and the resources to make this happen. So I said today, and I'll say it again, I am totally confident that this just isn't someone with an idea and a proposal coming before us for that building. This will happen. They will make it happen in conjunction with the town, obviously. You know, there are still details to be worked out. We haven't got to the development agreement yet. So the development agreement outlines all the specifics of what our expectations are for the developer and they for us. So we'll get to that point hopefully sooner rather than later so that we can progress with this development. So yeah, I'm glad that the deputy pointed that out, because it's worth noting that, and I said it today, I'll say it again, all the projects that we are announcing and all the developers that we're involved with, we have the greatest confidence that these are all companies and individuals that have the ability to make these things happen. And I can tell you, that's a great step forward for us. As I said, we've had many discussions with others over the years, and it just didn't, it wasn't going to work. This is going to work.
I just would add Shaw and Shaw/Clayton Developments are the largest single developer in the entire Maritimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was very impressed with their presentation to PAC, and what a great job they did, especially Dean, when he was speaking to us about what was going to take place here and his vision. I think that's excellent.
So someone will have to remind me, did we vote on that motion? Sorry. We did?
Yes, we
did.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did,
I
yeah.
brought up after the.
All right,
after
thank
the
you,
vote.
thank you, okay. Municipal Infrastructure Incentive Program. There's a mouthful, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is no resolution here. You've already approved the program design and delivery. But your approval was contingent on Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation approving changes to Westville's Housing Accelerator Fund application. So for those who don't remember, that's a $1.6 million fund that has been made available to Westville to spur development in town. And I'm happy to report that late last week we got approval. I got an email from CMHC approving the changes that we had requested, which makes it possible for us to create this infrastructure incentive program, which will allow the town to incentivize developers by helping offset some of the costs of putting in place infrastructure that will make it possible to bring housing forward. So by that I mean water lines and sewer lines and roads, essentially. And so Westville will now be in a place where we can go to developers such as Shaw and say, okay, we'd be delighted to see you bring development to Westville, and we're willing to participate and incentivize you by offsetting some costs associated with some infrastructure. And that, I'm confident, will help those private sector or not-for-profit organizations who want to develop housing make Westville a preferred location for that kind of activity to occur.
Excellent work.
Your worship, I only have one more meeting here, but I would like to give some credit for some of the things that are happening in this town to our Member of Parliament in this case, Sean Fraser, and his job in the ministry, but also to Tim Houston, Premier Houston, who has been most helpful on numerous fronts in this town in the last while. And actually, Tim Houston ended my 8-year career in the legislature. It wasn't really a career, but but I would like to give him, I use the word too often, bouquet. No, I'd like to give him recognition for the number of things that he has done as well. But Sean Fraser, both have been very good to the town of Westville in a number of fronts, and I think they deserve recognition for what they're doing for us. And to both of them, I say thank you very much.
Very, very good point, Councillor. Thank you very much. And that, you know, it brings to mind the fact that a lot of these things happen because of building relationships, and it takes time. It takes time, it takes effort, but you know, we're getting there. That we've been able, through the CAO's office and council, to form relationships with people that can actually get things done and make things happen, like I said before. And we're seeing the fruits of that work right now, I think, in town, finally. And the Housing Accelerator Fund that we're talking about now, that we got the 1.6 million, you know, was pretty much a game changer for us as a small town. It's a lot of money for us to be able to use for infrastructure work to entice developers to come and perform in town and make housing available. So that program is working from our point of view. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you from having attended the Canadian Federation of Municipalities meeting back in June and talking to similar sized towns and things and municipalities throughout the country, we're very fortunate that we got what we got, because they all didn't get, a lot of them did not get what we were able to get. And so Sean Fraser possibly being in our backyard was a help, I'm guessing, as the minister, and we'll say that openly. So yeah, and I will say, I think we should say, yeah, we've got several developers that are currently working, as we've been mentioning. I would encourage, if there's more developers out there, Westville, we are open for business from development point of view. We still have lots of areas in town that are available for development of a residential nature in particular, and that's what we're pushing for. So come and talk to us. You know, we can assist you now with something, at least anyway, that we couldn't before because of the Housing Accelerator Fund. So it's a game changer, really. So
Large or small, we're open for business.
pardon?
Large or small, we're open for business.
We are open for business, exactly. And it doesn't have to be a large-scale project. No, I mean, you know, Shaw's starting with a 10-unit one, which is not large by any stretch of the imagination, but we expect it will lead to more. You know, we're more than, and we've got some individual ones that are, you know, a couple units or 4 units that are happening soon in town. And they're all welcome. They're all, you know, they're very helpful. And I said it today, and I just want to say this again. It's more than just the house. It's more than just the structure of these housings. It's more just the wood and the brick and the mortar and all that stuff. To me, what this means, these developments mean, all these units coming, it's the people that they're going to bring to our town. And it's not just the number of people, it's who these people are going to be and what they're going to bring. You know, to us. There'll be assets for our town, I'm sure. You know, we don't know whether they're going to be, you know, who they're going to be or what they're going to bring. But I'm guessing that, you know, we're going to get some pretty good results from the people that come and take advantage of this new housing that's going to be happening, and build this community even more. So, you know, it's about that. It's about the people that are going to be in these dwellings, not just the structure of the dwellings. Although, you know, we kind of like that from a revenue point of view, from a tax point of view. We like the fact that we're going to increase our assessments by all these new properties for sure. So, but it's an exciting time, and
not to mention the possible commercial spin-offs that come with an increased population.
I'm a firm believer that you know, people have commented on that. Well, we need more commercial, we need businesses, and it's true, we do. But I'm, as you're pointing out, Deputy Mayor, that the residential development will bring commercial development. I mean, it's obvious. You know, anybody that's an entrepreneur and sees that there's increased people in town and there's needs that need to be met, you know, that aren't being fulfilled for those people, obviously I would expect that the commercial development will come after that. So it's a process. It's a slow process. It's one that has to be worked on daily.
Your Worship, but when we think of the long-term care facility and the number of jobs that are going to be involved with that, the number of people that will be locating in Westville and area, that is going to be very, very significant. The number of caregivers that will be involved and all the other workers that from kitchen to housekeeping and everything else. There's a lot of jobs, a lot of professional jobs involved with that. And one of the things that I don't think the people of Westville really know, that when Premier Houston was making the announcement, which we attended, he was asked by a media person, why is it being located? Why does it have to be built in the town of Westville? And his response was that Westville residents needed a place for their elderly to go into a long-term care facility. And the other thing is that the town of Westville has a very progressive town council. So I think he gave this council a recognition, as I tried to give him tonight. So it's working two ways, and we're delighted to have the cooperation of our MLA Premier.
I guess we should
And,
apologize a bit for our enthusiasm and our excitement, but, you know, the people at this table have been working on these things and discussing them at length for
Months
several
and
years.
months and months
And
and
to
years.
finally see it happening, I can tell you, is you know, from a personal point of view, is very, very rewarding and very exciting, and to know what it's going to bring to this town. So that's why we're exuberant. That's why we're probably gushing a little bit more than we should be. But I guess I don't need to apologize. I shouldn't need to
No.
apologize for it, hopefully.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, having said that, public engagement. This is your opportunity to come forward and speak to us and comment, ask questions, whatever you desire. This would be the time. Just as protocol demands, just indicate your name, your address, and that's all we need. I think that mic, is that mic right there is what we want to use, apparently? Correct, Kristen? Yep, okay. It's on.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle Fraser. I live just around the corner on Purvis Avenue. I have a few questions, actually. I have emailed the council about the first one, which is the dog park. We had offered up the land from the Legion about a year ago. The ballpark behind the Legion is a perfect location for the dog park. And I know that Public Works is stretched. I get it. I'm not questioning, what work's being done. I'm just asking that we get on the schedule. We've had a citizen that came out, walked the perimeter, tied up a couple holes to make it usable, put a couple hinges on the gate to make it usable, because there's a dozen people already, or dozens actually, that would love to get out there. So if Public Works can maybe squeeze it in somewhere, I know obviously water main breaks are more important, we do understand that. But we'd like to maybe get it done before winter, I don't know. The other thing was, when you were mentioning, Pictou Transit, I was approached by 2 or 3 Legion members who take the route on Porters, I think they said. And there's a ditch of some sort right at the stop, and it was difficult to get from the ditch to the stop. And they were told that the town was in charge of where the stops went. And so they were wondering if maybe that particular stop could be moved just away from the ditch. I was going to drive out and kind of see where it was specifically, but if you guys are familiar, they were having a difficult time getting from the stop to the bus. The other thing, I should have wrote this down. I think that might be it. No, sorry. The sidewalk work on Spring Garden. The Legion has those mailboxes right there. A lot of the traffic that is causing our gravel to be gigantic craters are the citizens coming in and out of the Legion parking lot to access those mailboxes. They face the parking lot. So they pull in, they get their mail at Spring Garden there, and then they use the Legion parking lot to come out. No big deal, but there's huge craters in that one area. Is it possible during the sidewalk work to just dump some gravel into the holes by those mailboxes there? Because that was a question from a few of the people. And I think that's it.
Well, very good. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you.
The dog park, I think, CAO Weirs, I think we have some plan for that.
Yeah, some work has, Public Works has been out between water breaks to do what they can do. It is on our list of things to do. It's a matter of time and bodies. So I'm not going to make any promises, because I would have, had somebody told me it would take this long to get to do a dog park, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
But it has. So though I do, I have a quote out for a sign to go up and those sorts of things. So it'll be coming. But I really, to make a promise now is just to, pick a date out of the air that I really, at this point, can't live up to, for sure.
There was a sign that I saw, I think. I knew there was something afloat new that was requested, so
So
that'll be a
it's on
start.
their list, and we're doing our best to try and get there.
The ditch on Porter, so Councillor
McKinnon, yes, just wanted to comment there on the dog park. For those of you who have dogs that are fairly well trained, I guess, will listen and recall, they can use it. So I've been taking my dogs there for probably over a year now, and I have no problems. Obviously, it doesn't have the features that I'd like to see it have. There's no garbage can, no doggy poop bags. Some of the fencing is not high enough. It needs to be heightened. Also, it would be ideal if it had like the little entranceway where you could kind of go in and then get your dog off leash and open the other portion, so that when people are arriving, if it becomes popular, you don't lose dogs on the way out. Just kind of modeled after the Trenton Dog Park one would be my dream. But in the meantime, while we're stretched fairly thin, it is one of my top priorities of something that I'd like to see take place. I am using it, and I know some other people within the town are going. I spoke to a lady today that had an adorable puppy and was looking for a place to go, and that dog is small enough that will not be able to jump over the fence there. The fencing would be high enough for small dogs, and she was excited to know that is something that Westville has in place with the Legion, and it is usable. You'll just have to clean up after your pets and take things with you, so there's no garbage or anything like that now. But yeah, I'd like to see it come to a bigger reality sooner than later.
Thank you for that. I'm sure we will as well. The mailbox matter, as I understand it, and this is not a cop-out by any stretch, but that's a post office
Yeah, and
responsibility. They're supposed to maintain those boxes, the area around them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so this is a development. I wasn't aware of the challenge, so now that I am, I'll reach out to my contact at Canada Post and ask some questions.
In front of the mailboxes would be helpful. It's probably a foot deep by now.
Yeah, there are. I think I'm right in saying this. My Canada Post contact told me that there were, I think it is 31 community post boxes in this town. I was shocked, but I think I'm correctly recalling that number. And so I'll raise this issue with them and see what we can do.
Yeah, I don't think people are aware that Canada Post should look after those locations where the community boxes are, and maybe that's something we just have to tell people. You report it to Canada Post if you can. And I know sometimes, I think they've asked us just to do it, and I don't know what happens there. We build them or whatever. I don't know. I know we have in the past
Okay.
when it becomes critical, right? And the other one, the Porter's Lane, I wasn't aware of that. But that's
look
something
at
that
that
Public
right
Works
here.
can have a look at for sure. Thank you for
There's-
bringing
There
that.
is a ditch there.
Thank you for bringing that, Danielle. And just for a moment, thank you again for the food pantry idea, and I know it's being used extremely well, because I spent a fair amount of time in the building, and I think people are using it and using it properly, both contributing and taking what they need. It's a fantastic thing that we have in our town. And dropping off regularly, yeah. So it's been well received. Anything else? Come forward.
Chair G.
Hello, everybody. You know my name.
Could you, but the only reason I asked you to do that is because we are on YouTube, and people won't be able to hear you at home. Or when people look at it 10 years from now, they won't be able to hear you. So,
Do you want me to hand something out for you?
Well, just before I start, did the bus schedule change since they did the drawings and you put it on?
There was an
Facebook?
updated one sent today.
Okay, has it changed since Friday?
no.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm here today to talk about the Pictou County Transit. Okay,
You didn't say your name and your address, by the way.
okay. This one. Okay. Okay, so my name is Jerry or Geraldine Gresswell. I live on Lyons Lane in Westville. That's off Union Street. So,
That's okay.
so on Friday, I took the bus. I got on the bus in front of the post office at 11:30, and I returned at 3 o'clock. So I did the full loop. Okay, let me put my glasses on. Okay. So I was speaking to the drivers on the bus. So I'm going to refer to the little loop that's in Glasgow, Stellarton, that goes around all the day, and we're the big loop that's Westville, Pictou Landing, Trenton. Pictou, yep. Okay. So, so it's a much-needed service, but nobody's using it. So I spoke to the drivers, and they said on an average, maybe 4 to 5, and that's total of the 4 locations use the bus. That's it. So when I got on the Westville bus, I was the only person that got on, and when I got off, nobody got back on from Westville. So then I made a call to Matt's Taxi today, and I said, well, how much is a taxi? And they said the flat rate for a taxi in Westville is $15. $15. So like we'll say from Porter's Lane to Foodland is $15, to Walmart's $15, hospital, etc., and Pictou is $30. So $5 is a really good deal. So if the schedule hasn't changed, it stops and arrives in Westville at 8 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6:30 p.m. So that's an average, like if you average those 4 stops out, it's like every 3.5 hours. So I would say the barrier to the usage is the long wait times. And at that time on Friday, there was no flagging, but I guess there's going to be. And like the potential users would be students, shopping, banking, work, medical appointments. So I just looked at that map. And say if I wanted to go to Walmart, I would leave on the 8 a.m. Westville bus. It goes to the lands at the hub, which is the wellness center, one of them, and you got to change the bus. Then it goes to the Aberdeen Business Center at 9. 9:26 it arrives at Walmart, so you can shop for 2 hours, we'll say. 11:26 you get on the bus, it goes back to the Business Center. And then at 12, the Business Center, it goes to Pictou Landing, Trenton, Pictou, and then it arrives at Westville at 3:05. So, that was almost 5 hours. And it's only 4.4 kilometers from Westville to Walmart. So we're looking at it travels at 3.25 kilometers an hour. NSAC students, if they get off school at 3:30 or so, they can't, the last bus that will arrive in Westville is at 6:20, I think. Yeah.
6:40, yeah.
6:40. So they've got to wait around for 3 hours. They're going to drive around to Pictou Landing. They're going to go to Trenton, Pictou. So the NSC is about probably 3 clicks from here, so that's 3 hours. So there's another one that's a click an hour. Another complaint that the Westville citizens have is they miss their banks. If you want to go to the bank in Stellarton, you have to leave Westville, go to the Wellness Center, then you get on the loop, you go to the NSCC, you get there at 8:45, but the bank doesn't open until 10. Then to return, they have to wait an hour, but that's when the bank opens. Back on the loop, goes back to Aberdeen Mall at 10. Then they've got to go on Pictou, Pictou Landing, Trenton, and back to Westville. So it's 3.5 hours from Westville to the Stellarton Scotia Bank. So there's another one that's 1 kilometer an hour. So what I see in the schedule here is the last bus that arrives in Westville was at 6:20. Like, everything's closed. Maybe they could move that bus into like working hours, and so people wouldn't have to wait so long. Because it takes a long time to get around. Or maybe we can have more connections that we can hook onto the main loop, other than just the Aberdeen Business Center. Like 3.5 hours to get to the Stellarton Bank and back. So. And I had a question too. Does Westville have to pay for these buses? Oh, it's free?
Yes, no,
Oh.
no, we contribute, we pay.
Yeah.
We contribute, but
Westville pays, yes.
But like if there was like,
there's a grant, like a transportation grant, was there not?
During the trial period, there's money from the province that that's why it's $5.
Right.
oh no, and that's excellent. That's better than 15.
Correct,
And that's 15 is just one way.
yeah.
And the $5 is for the whole day.
You can
But
ride
I
as-
just can't see
you can
people
ride as-
waiting.
Ride as many times as you want for $5.
Yeah.
Your worship, if I may.
Yeah.
I thought that when you left Westville in the morning and you went to the Pictou County Wellness Center,
Yes.
that you got another bus, that you didn't go to all these other places.
That's
You
just
got
that one time.
You get another bus to go to
The loop.
Aberdeen Mall
Yeah.
or do the loop or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So,
But the rest of the times they're Clary at 10
the rest
and
of them,
12.
you have to go
to
to
the-
all of the locations.
Yep. Because you meet at the Aberdeen Business Center, the mall, the old mall, I call it.
And that same bus is the one that goes to Pictou Landing First Nation.
Yeah,
down at
because there's only 2 buses. One that goes to Glasgow Stellarton, and the other bus that goes Westville, Trenton, Pictou Landing,
Yeah, the
Westville.
connecting bus.
Pardon?
Yeah, the connecting bus, the bus that.
Yeah, there's only
smaller
2.
bus is the one that comes here.
And so, like, I asked, well, who designed this route in the Times? And they said, well, the bus drivers did. Oh. But I myself see that as a barrier to usage, that it takes so long, we'll say, to go to Stellarton and come back,
It's
3.5 hours.
I will say this, it's a beginning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We did not have this last year.
No,
We didn't
no.
have the option even for the, I know what you're saying, and I understand the difficulty that it presents to some people.
Mm-hmm.
But we currently have a transit system, at least in the infant stage, and we're in the infant stages.
Oh, yeah,
here,
yeah.
right? So it's a little bit of trial and error. It was on the route, it is on the route, and it will be on the Times. And you know, as the thing progresses, and I know it's sort of like, it's a catch-22 in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we need the ridership
Yes.
to
right.
come up to enable us to have more than the one bus, for
Right.
example, right?
Right.
These are very costly things. So it will take time. I And I understand what you're saying. I guess, like I said, it's a step forward from where we were without transit, period.
Yeah.
Right? When people had to pay those taxi fares. And nothing to
$15.
say. And there will be times when people will avail themselves of that. And I don't, it's not a competition with the taxi businesses.
No.
That's not what's intended.
No.
It's to provide a service. And the other thing that it does, by the way, quite outside of what you're talking about, Jerry, but it enables us, and has enabled us since it came into force, to tick the box that we have transit available in our town. Because some of these things that we were talking about previously in the meeting, of things that we apply for assistance from the federal government, provincial government, most every one of these things, one of the boxes that you're asked to tick, do you have transit in your community? We're able to do that now.
Yes.
Albeit, it's not ideal, it's not the perfect solution. There's no question. I think we all accept that and understand that. But I appreciate you've experienced it, right?
I had my bus brain on instead of my car brain.
You experienced it, and that's
Yeah.
great feedback. And I think that's what the Transit Authority is going to be looking for, and it'll be constantly being reviewed, and they rely on the drivers for feedback, obviously, right? And you being a passenger on there and discussing it with them and giving them feedback will be helpful in the long term, I believe, because they're still feeling their way as well about the route and about the times. Not much they can do about the times because it's very limited because the area that they're covering, right? And so they had to come up with a plan. It's when we first started talking with them, there was going to be one trip, 1 day a week, one trip.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is a little improvement over that by a long stretch. So appreciate the fact that you used it,
Yes.
and appreciate the fact
It's clean.
that
The drivers were nice.
exactly.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I did just happen when I was coming downtown today to come to the office here. I guess I was just before the bus, and I did see two people at the post office, which I was excited and they were at the stop. So I was very excited to see that.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I was very excited to see that. And the CAO, they come out here and stop out here, so he's very well aware of, you can't see inside the bus, which is great because the windows are tinted, so you have to physically go up to the bus in order to see, which is great for
Yeah.
privacy and so on, right, for the riders. But yeah, and I do have one. I had one person approach me in town that said that they were so appreciative because they were going to physiotherapy every day and had no transportation and were paying cab fares. Can you imagine?
Would be
what that
$30
Imagine what that
return.
amounted to on a
Minimum.
weekly basis. And so she was very appreciative. So hopefully, by word of mouth and by people, and as Clary had mentioned earlier about clarifying the schedule and all of that, the times
Yeah.
and whatnot, there will be more people avail themselves of it, hopefully. But yeah, what you're saying, that your comments are good to feed back to
Yeah.
to the
It's
authorities.
kilometer an hour.
Kilometer an hour, yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
3 hours to go to Stoughton.
Right.
I know, and I know it's in its infancy stage.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right. I think just to comment on that, for me, one of the things that I thought about initially when this came about was people using it as a service to go to other communities and explore in those communities, like whether it was an afternoon or a morning.
Right.
And you would want to stay there 3 or 4 hours, right?
Right.
There's lots of things. There's many people in Westville that I've talked to that haven't gone to Pictou Landing and don't know, about the beautiful school with the playground
It's
there that
nice.
has the
It's really, really nice. I was
Yeah.
surprised. I was pleasantly surprised.
yeah, the absolutely, beautiful playground
church.
there on the water. And, they could go to Pictou Landing for an afternoon, have a picnic and explore that community, or go to the town of Pictou and get ice cream on the waterfront and kind of have, the flexibility to take small family day trips within Pictou County
Right.
without needing a car or worrying about parking or anything else. So that part of me was quite excited when this first came out, just thinking about families being able to get out and about and do things. So I'm hoping ridership does pick up as we finalize the schedule and get the word out.
Right.
And we see more and more people utilizing it so that we can make it better in the
Yeah.
future.
I think
Yeah.
as we get into the fall, it'll be a truer test as
Yeah.
well, like, you know.
Well, okay, so we get into the fall, so you'll have the NSCC students.
Right,
They can't get home until 6:30,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
there'll be
they-
some people
they'll
that
be able
would-
to stay at the campus and study, you know, it'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That could even just saving the cost of one way, right? Like
Yep.
if you were going to take it to go shopping and use the $5 there, you're still saving yourself a $20 cab ride on the way back, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that we heard at the recent meeting that we were involved in, the CAO and I, was that the largest ridership uptake was from Pictou, the town of Pictou.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, you know, there were a lot of people there that had no transportation, that couldn't get across that
Yeah.
causeway to
Right.
come to the other side. And so they're coming to Westville, they're coming to Stellarton, they're coming to Glasgow, you know. And so I would say as well, and Councillor Sarah just mentioned that, but, you know, you just think about Pictou, like if people don't have transportation, the things that are available, you know, just down along the waterfront and so on, to take in some of those things, and this, you know, the center, the DeCoste Center, and so on. It'll be a big help for that as well. So,
Yep.
you know, it's like I said, it's in its infancy. It's just a beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And but I do acknowledge and appreciate your comments that, you know, it's you need to devote some time if you want to get on the bus and you want to go to point A and come back. Be prepared, right, to spend a little time.
Because now the small loop, like we'll call it the New Glasgow Stellarton, they get like a ridership of 8,200 people a day, whereas
Yeah, it's an hourly route.
the big, this 3.5 hour average
yeah.
is 4 to 5 people a day.
Yeah, so hopefully as it grows, that we can get to that stage where, you know, all our communities have that available type of bus service to them. And it's happened in other communities, you know,
Oh, yeah.
gone through the trial like we're going through, that it's developed into a more hourly basis.
Yeah, we need more.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, that's all I have to say. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary, appreciate it. Anything else?
Linda White, 2130 Duggan Avenue. I just want to follow up on something she said about the bank machines. Is there any update, like at one time, well, if you ask a Scotiabank in Stellarton, they said we're getting a banking machine in Westville. When? You ask Dr. Rivera, he says we're getting one. When? Does the town have any
Yeah,
info or?
I don't know if the CAO's heard anything. I personally haven't. I don't know if anyone else has. But yeah, that was a commitment. That was one commitment that we got from Scotiabank when they left town, that there would be an ATM.
MTM.
Sorry, an ATM. There might be an ATV cooking around too, right, Mary Lou? An ATM in town. That was one commitment that they did say, but.
Because he has said that he has done the work that they required to
Right.
put it in,
Right.
and that's months ago,
Yeah.
so.
We can probably, I think I still have a contact from the person that I was dealing with at the time when they closed. And if so, I will reach out or have the CAO
It'd
reach
be
out
nice
to
to
that
have one
person.
bank machine in the town
Yeah.
for
So miss our
convenience, yeah.
banks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, that's it.
We won't say anything about the possibility, no. Not yet. No, okay.
Too soon.
We have some other things in our mind, in our thoughting process about some of the developments that are going on with regard to that, by the way. But we can't divulge or even speak to them yet because they're just thoughts. They're just ideas.
We all want a bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Anybody has? All right, so hearing that, are we in need of a, no. We always have in camera on the agenda, but I don't think we necessarily need one tonight, correct, CAO? Music to everyone's ears. So if that's the case, our next committee of the whole meeting is on the
These are outdated.
that's wrong. That's wrong. I was going to say August the 19th. We missed it. September sometime, yeah. I don't have a calendar in front of me. Oh, that's correct. Our council meeting in September is going to be moved up from the last, it will not be on the last Monday because that's the holiday. That's a National Reconciliation Day. So that will not be happening. So we're going to meet on the 23rd. So our next council meeting, regular council meeting, and that's the meeting where we're going to have the public hearing on the Drummond Street development next door on the 23rd prior to our council meeting at 6 o'clock. I know that for sure. And the other things are normal police commission, planning advisory, and so on. Sorry?
So
Third week of the month, correct.
17th and 8th, so Police Commission will be the 17th, and Planning Advisory Committee will be the 18th,
There you go.
and accessibility on the 19th.
Yeah, one thing that's on there that is accurate, and that is that on Wednesday evening, 28th, here at 6 o'clock, we're having a public meeting with regard to the water meter project, just for information and answer questions or concerns that anyone has in town. So we want to get the information out. We'll have the folks that are doing the actual installation on the new water meters in town. So that's on Wednesday
This
here
Wednesday.
in Chambers at 6 o'clock. And with that, I see no further business. I declare the meeting adjourned.